Hello, BookTube. We're down in puppy territory for another tour of this library shelf. I was looking over it when I was done with yesterday's segment to see if I could guess just how long this is going to go. Not that any of you seem to mind. You're all very patient with me. I really appreciate that. But I don't think... there's this bottom shelf, which was crammed full of mass markets. And it doesn't have much longer to go. Then the question is going to be, do we continue on with this bookcase, which is kind of a hodgepodge, or do we go somewhere else? I've had now by comment and text and email several dozen requests for that graphic novel bookcase behind me, but I know that won't interest a lot of you, or will it? I don't have any idea. It's connected to my ongoing question about why any of you watch this channel. I originally thought, well, surely a book-by-book tour of a graphic novel bookcase won't be of interest to most of my viewers. But then I think back on all the comments I've gotten for the last two Wednesday comics videos that I've done, which by rights shouldn't be interesting to anybody, and how many comments have I got, and texts and emails saying, I'm not at all interested in comic books, but I love that. I don't understand it. Anyway, I will figure it out. I don't know. It's high time that I made sense of this bookcase anyway. So maybe just pulling out and looking at every single book on it is the way to go. But anyway, well, that's a problem for the future. Right now, we're just going to do another stack from this bottom shelf in puppy territory. Starting with this old, this old Avon paperback of Moving On by Larry McMurtry. Let's see what the date is. It's got to be the 70s. Yes, this is 1970. And in case you were wondering about the date, you could certainly tell it from the cover. Isn't that awesome? What I wouldn't give for a dust jacketed hardcover of this book with that cover. And again, if we had the Steve machine, shoebox size, you take a book that you want, you put it into the Steve machine, and then you just tell the machine what you want to come out on the other side. And it does it. It scans this book and then does it. And that's exactly what I would want. I would want to put this book in the slot and have a hardcover come out the other end with a paper dust jacket that has this illustration and these blurbs on the back, and that has all of my highlighting and annotations all throughout here. Only in a new form, because this one can't really be read too many more times. But this is a great contemporary novel of Larry McMurtry's with a fantastic main character, just fantastic, a perfectly human character named Patsy Carpenter, who we follow her life and her loves and her thinking about life. And there are plenty of male characters that walk on and off, but it's just a towering novel, just a fantastic, ambitious, thoroughly entertaining novel. I always tell people that, when we think of the rare roster, the very small roster of writers who've written two genuinely great novels in their career, probably the first name to come to mind, if you don't consider Homer, is Tolstoy. And people just reflexively say, Tolstoy, War and Peace. And then they need a minute to remember that he also wrote Anna Karenina, and that is every bit as great, just in a completely different tonal register. Same thing is true of Larry McMurtry. I feel safe to say that, because his career is almost over. And he wrote a whole career of fantastic books, but he wrote two toweringly great novels. One was Lonesome Dove, and it's the one that everyone associates with him. But he also wrote Moving On, which is terrific. I don't think at the moment I have this in any other format except this little old Avon paperback. Anyway, what have we got next here? Oh my, okay. Oh goodness gracious. Okay, all right. I have mentioned many times on this Puppy Territory Library Tour The Journeys of McGill Fayan by Kevin O'Donnell, an old science fiction series about a small group of people who can teleport a discrete weight of inanimate or animate matter a discrete distance to places where they have been and have registered in their minds. They're called flingers. And one of their number, McGill Fayan, is it's Kevin O'Donnell's tongue-in-cheek play on The Chosen One cliche of science fiction. Because when he's a baby, McGilfane is ingested by an intergalactically traveling gastropod for reasons that remain unknown. he's then disgorged, unharmed, apparently, and becomes a flinger. And the series went for 4 books, and I love them. I love them so much that I buy them whenever I see them. And if you didn't have any demonstration of that in this tour, you have it right here on this shelf. It is 3 copies of book number 1, which is Caverns. 3 copies in addition to probably 3 copies of Caverns that we've seen elsewhere in this tour. So that might be taking things a little far. What have we got? Oh, okay. This is, a perfect condition, old mass market paperback of Myths of the Norseman by Roger Lancelyn Green, who I've mentioned on this library tour before. He does, 100 years ago, he did popularizations of myth cycles, the ancient Egyptians, the Norse, the Greeks, and Romans, and they're wonderful. They're wonderful reading. They're, of course, meant for children. They were in the Puffin line, and I believe they still are in your Barnes & Noble now. But any adult could read them with pleasure, including this one. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? The floor is covered in dog toys, and yet she goes hunting for things that are mine. Like this, which is not a dog toy, but the floor is literally covered in dog toys. Anyway, and then I get the look of, oh my God, no one's ever been as oppressed as I am. Why don't you behave yourself? Why don't you behave yourself? What's the matter with you? Huh? My little Frida Bean. Okay, for the puppy interruptions. Any other bookcase, we'd probably be safe. Although, of course, I can't help but remember a little pang that when I was on the floor level bookshelf in the other room, I was interrupted by my little hippo, who would trundle over on an extremely slow speed with her enormous face, just to see what I was doing. But anyway, okay, this next one is Gordon Dixon. This is Lost Dorsai, one of his Dorsai novels. This one, these are from the 70s, and they're generously illustrated. What I wouldn't give, again, for the Seed Machine, just to put this in it and have a hardcover with a dust jacket come out the other side with the illustrations and with my notes. And in the meantime, I have these mass market paperbacks because I don't think the Dorsai books have been reprinted in 35 years. And they're all about the planet Dorsai and the people who live on it, called the Dorsai. It's a resource-poor planet, and the way that the people make money is to sell their services as mercenaries and tacticians. And so over the generations, they have become a military super race, highly coveted by all the other planets in the system, because if you have a military problem, you really want a platoon of Dorsai to help you solve it. And this book is entirely about what happens if a Dorsai is peaceful, is a pacifist, is a musician, and doesn't want to sell himself as a soldier or anything like that. And it's remarkably good. What's your problem? Can't you see I'm making a video? You just knock it off, you bad little dog. Oh. Sorry, where were we before the puppy apocalypse? Oh, right, okay. Oh, great, okay. We saw this before as well. This is Star Trek, edited by Dean Wesley Smith. This is Strange New Worlds, Volume 2. It's just a collection of Star Trek fan fiction that was vetted by the editor and then put into volumes. And there were a number of volumes. They went up a long way, well past number 2. I don't think I have any of the others, but some of them made very good reading. And what I would do is go through them. You're not going to be able to make it out. They are broken up by Star Trek iteration, and I at the beginning of every story, I sort of made a mark of whether or not it was really good or average or bad to guide my rereading, and yet I haven't ever gone back to reread. Let's see what this. Oh, very good. Okay. This is An Experiment in Criticism by C.S. Lewis in a mass market paperback. Boy, they won't make a mass market of this anymore. This is an essay by C.S. Lewis about reading that is incredibly good. Just incredibly good. Just full of passages to quote and underline and remember because they're so good. All about the process of reading. This is an extended literary essay about the joys of reading and about the nature of reading. And it's something that I quoted in my very first BookTube video when I mentioned a thought that is first expressed by C.S. Lewis in this book, where he says that reading broadens your inner world, and that the way you know that is because think about the friend of yours who doesn't read. You know, we may like them, we have the most amount of sympathy for them, but we wouldn't want to live in their world. It's so small compared to ours. And he says it with the utmost sympathy, but that point I've found is true. And I don't know what this is doing out here. This is fantastic. I know I have a copy in the other room, but well, anyway, I'm going to have to figure out this bookcase eventually anyway. So, but An Experiment in Criticism is almost certainly free as a download somewhere online. You really ought to take half an hour and read it. Okay, this is very strange. This is Edward Purdon. This is the story of the Irish language in just like 60 pages. I don't know why I have this. Honestly not. What's next here? Oh, good. Okay, this is A.C. Bradley, Oxford Lectures on Poetry. A.C. Bradley, famous for his Shakespearean tragedy, his volume Shakespearean Tragedy, one of the immortal Shakespeare books. Every season sees thousands of them, but very few of them live on, and Bradley's Shakespearean Tragedy has. In fact, I think it was a Penguin classic. I don't have it. Probably one of you has seen it. Mm-hmm. But this is just a collection of his lectures on various poetic subjects, and I don't know if I can get to the table of contents. Some of them really appealed to me. There's one on Wordsworth, one on Shelley, another one on Wordsworth, one on Keats, and 4 on Shakespeare. So, again, what I wouldn't give to have this in a real edition. That would be so great. Because I've reinforced this one, but even so, I don't think it could survive a vigorous reading with pencil in hand. Then what's next here? We're back to Star Trek, but not corporate approved Star Trek. Not by any means. This is by Sandra Marchek and Myrna Culbreth. This is Triangle. A novel of theirs that tries to answer a very basic Star Trek question that no novel had tried to answer before, although plenty of fan fiction had. What would happen if Kirk and Spock fell in love with the same woman? In this case, the Federation free agent Sola Thane. And the results aren't pretty. But they write such an entertaining book. This is pure Star Trek cheese, but I reread it regularly. And so I buy it whenever I see it. Now this next one is another one of these little pocket paperbacks that are just rock solid, and I think this is one we've seen before. This is Elizabethan Ethics by Lytton Strachey, and it's delightful. It's just absolutely delightful. It's such great reading, and I have it in a new publisher did a trade paperback reprint not that long ago, 15, 20 years ago. I have that, and I also have a hardcover, but I love these little pocket paperbacks, so I just kept it. And what's next? Oh, perfect for March Mystery Madness, which is right around the corner. This is SPQR by John Maddox Roberts. This is the first in his SPQR series, set in the same period as Stephen Saylor's Roma Sub Rosa series, the period, the late Republic, Pompey, Crassus, Julius Caesar, and then the changeover from the late Republic to Julius Caesar's sole rule as permanent dictator. An extremely pivotal period in Roman history that a lot of murder mysteries in ancient Rome a lot of ancient Roman murder mysteries are set in that period. I think probably not so much because it's pivotal as because it's so maniacally well documented. It's unbelievable how much we know about the day-to-day life of that period. And this is stars a young member of the Metellus family, Quintus Caecilius Metellus, I think his name is. Decius Caecilius Metellus the Younger, who is of the Metelli. He's of the Metellius clan, but he himself is a wastrel. He's not a playboy. He's just, his older relatives don't think much of him. He has a minor administrative post. His family has enough clout for that. But his real interest is solving mysteries. He's the perfect amateur sleuth in the murder mystery, subgenre of them. And of course, murder mysteries come his way because of it. And these are all great. They are very light touch and sometimes move into explicit comedy. And the first 5 of them, I don't know about the rest, but the first 5 of them also have an extended bravura comic scene as the concluding scene, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing to do, and so hard to orchestrate and then pull off. I don't know if these are still in print, but boy, oh boy, I should talk about them when I talk about historical murder mysteries. Fantastic. Didn't know I had this. And then the last one, what is our last one here? Oh, God, help us. Okay. This is The Great World. This is Charles Greville's memoirs, edited by Louis Cronenberg. Wow. So this is, oh, God, I've reinforced this a million times, but this is not going to live. This is from Anchor Books, came out in 1964. No one would make a mass-market paperback of this now. And it's an abridgment, a very tastefully done abridgment of his enormous diaries, his enormous memoirs, about walking in the highest rungs of British power in the middle of the 19th century for decades. Knowing everyone, knowing the monarch, walking everywhere, influencing policy, talking with everyone, getting all sorts of off-the-cuff comments, and then going home and industriously writing it down. I don't know why the Greville memoirs aren't better known. I don't know why they aren't on the same pedestal as like John Evelyn or Samuel Pepys, or even Fanny Burney. This one seems to fly below the radar constantly, and I don't know why, because it's terrific reading. He's smart and self-deprecating, and when he put his pen to paper to write about his day, oh, he's amazingly good. I don't know. I have no idea where I would even find a copy of it. Probably Greville's memoirs might be available at Project Gutenberg. I don't know, abridged or not. Probably there's a free version of this somewhere online. I don't know where I would go to get it as a book. No idea. Unless one of you tells me that it's available as a Penguin Classic. I'd be very interested to hear that. But in the meantime, that is it. That is another stack down in puppy territory. I'm going to sign off for now, but I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.